Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest. We are about to get dumped by snow, which is very exciting. I'm a little bit under the weather, but they did release a whole bunch of new information. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the new familiars, the new costumes, and what we can expect over the course of the next couple of weeks. Let's go ahead and dig in. So just going through the top of the list real fast, the really important things that they've kind of announced here is the Space-Time Cube, the Ice Jade Shop. They announced that Ursa Glacier is going to be coming out, that Daruru's coming out, which is a new episode familiar. They also teased the Masquerade outfit, the 200-day celebration event, as well as Waiting for the Wishing Tree. And what you might not know right away is that Waiting for the Wishing Tree is actually a episode event. And so what this probably is, what Waiting for the Wishing Tree probably is the pre-episode event where you get one copy of the familiar that is available. Now, when I was talking to a lot of people and chilling in my Discord, a lot of people thought the new familiar was Kaitona, but it's actually Camly. There's a couple of reasons for that. Of course, Ursa means bear. And when you're thinking about what just makes sense, it makes sense that Ursa is being released because Ursa's abilities are basically designed for cross-field play, and that is what is also going to be releasing is the cross-field play this coming week. So this is a pretty big deal, very exciting. I can't wait for our server to absolutely crush all of you guys. I'm kidding, go easy on us. But I'm pretty excited for it. So what do these familiars do? So Camly, or the Ursa, is a pretty interesting familiar. So at max awakening, reduces damage from familiars by 12%. In crossfield dungeons, for each attack familiar in your build, boost dealt damage by 7%. For each defense familiar in your build, reduce incoming damage by 7%. So very powerful, especially when you consider even at 0 awakening, that's 3% and 3% for each attack familiar and defense familiar in your build. So you're gonna be using him in the crossfield zones. His active ability provides a barrier that damages nearby enemies when destroyed and boosts damage dealt to crossfield monsters. So at 10 awakening, provides a barrier that lasts for 5 hits or 5 seconds. When destroyed, deals 184% damage to nearby enemies. For 5 seconds, boost damage dealt to player and other party members in 2 crossfield monsters by 10%. So relatively powerful attack boost here. Finally, in Familiar Arena, at Awakening 10, for 10 seconds, increase nearby familiar's resistance to crowd control effects by 100%. For 10 seconds, Camly goes on a rampage. While normal attacking, it boosts its attack by 20% and attack speed by 10% for 3 seconds, stacks up to 5 times. So definitely very powerful, very similar when you're looking at this to like Boar in some ways, but gonna be one of those familiars that I would say if you're doing crossfields a lot, is definitely going to help you. The question is though, is this one you're going to want to pull on, or would you rather pull on a familiar that is going to be a little bit more helpful to you in direct PvP content? Now, there was another familiar announced coming out, and that was Durarara, and I do believe that is going to be Cop. So the reason I think this is going to be Cop is because Cop is the free familiar that does come with the A Wishing Tree event. It's absolutely possible Durarara could just be a completely different familiar that is not Cop, but I'm reasonably confident that Cop is going to be the familiar that we're going to get. Not only is he freaking cute as hell, he does have some pretty good abilities. So at Awakening 10, reduces earth damage taken by 5%, reduces earth damage taken by party members by 2.5%. For each fire familiar in your build, increase maximum HP by 3%. Overall, pretty good. Very similar to Boar in the sense that it can increase defense, except this is going to be for HP. Overall, pretty awesome. His active ability is going to deal 409% fire damage. For 5 seconds, it's going to inflict 15% attack down. He's going to swing his shovel at the enemy and inflict attack down. Sorry, it's just a funny description. And then in Familiar Arena, it's going to deal 350% fire damage to nearby enemies. For 1 second, inflicts trip. So you will probably see him getting used. He doesn't seem that much crazy remarkable. He is an earlier event familiar. So this was the 3rd event on the Korean side. So he is not going to be probably as strong as some of the other familiars we've gotten, but he's going to be a familiar you can get to Awaken 10 if you do try, and he will be pretty solid for your team. Now, we do have some pictures before we get into the space-time stuff of what I believe to be the Masquerade costumes. So I do believe the Masquerade costumes are these right here. Not the best costumes I've seen in the game. I don't know that I would actually get them. I think I would probably wait for the Christmas costumes that are coming out. So besides all of this, we do have the announcement that the cross fields are going to be starting. And on the Korean side, they had this wonderful video that played, which didn't really explain anything to me. I'm probably gonna have to do sorry. I'm probably gonna have to do a more in-depth with Thin Bear just to get more precise details on what the strategies are, how you can win, etc., etc. Because it does seem like it's a combination of both PvE and PvP. But I know a lot of people are really excited for this, and a lot of people have been waiting. One thing people might not recognize is what's called the time-space cube. And they've talked about this mechanic previously in earlier videos, where the cross fields is going to have a way to buff your character either with attack or other stats, and that's going to be with the time space cube. And the time space cube is essentially another way to increase the stats on your character that is going to be dependent in the cross field. So it is a player growth feature that increases your overall combat power, if I'm quoting the page here. Boosting it is the key to being able to challenge higher floors and levels of cross field. So it is going to buff you in the cross field. I'm not sure if it's going to buff you in the real world, but it's going to be important to invest in and level up. So there are different faces of it, essentially. So you're going to have 30. So when you first get it, you have 2 faces unlocked. Level 30, 60, 115, and 165 additional faces of the cube are unlocked. And I'll go ahead and link this page down in the description down below. It talks about the status screen, leveling up the cube. I imagine it's going to be pretty clear. It doesn't look that remarkably complicated. It talks about time space fragments. It talks about fragment stat boost, strengthening fragments, changing fragments in order to get different boosts, and discarding extra fragments. So this is all going to be part of the min-maxing. I'm sure we'll have a separate video which will focus exclusively on this in the future when this does come out, with of course tips from Thin Bear and the community that plays on the Korean side. But just so you're aware of what's coming and can process and be ready for it, this is it. And I'll put the link again in the description of this video. Anyway, everybody, I hope you're all really excited. I'm pretty excited for the 200-day anniversary as well. Let's go ahead and I'll probably be live Tuesday night, and hopefully it'll be a pretty exciting week. So thank you so much, everybody, and I'll catch you all later.